I guess it's recording right now. Recording on this computer. Okay. So I guess it is.
It is. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. So for our second meeting, um, as far as for just going off of the points that she gives as a guide, what is everyone thinking so far as far as ranking? What is everybody thinking as far as from our communities?
Like an overall
Yeah,
ranking.
like where are you ranking them right now? Before we go over our way that we're going to rank them.
I have mine at the bottom. The reason I'm doing it is just because the extreme weather. What else was there? I mean, there's a bunch of crime. I mean, like the economy of the city is really good, but I just feel like there's a lot of factors. Like if you have bad weather all the time, and I don't know, constant power outages and stuff like that, even though you run off generators, it's not going to be. I just have a feeling that's why they don't have any there.
Yeah.
Or they're not there already. But yeah, I think between years, both of those are two good areas. I'd have to just look. I have to go back and reread y'all's again and kind of pick out from there. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm definitely last on mine.
All right.
I think on mine was Lompog. It has a lot of good things. Like the location is pretty nice. The economy, I'm like halfway with that because I think with one thing we all can like probably attribute to is that if NASA was
it would help out. So it will help out the economy a lot. But currently, it's not like a strong economy. Probably the weak points is that they don't have like a lot of stability and leadership right now. They don't have like a robust like budget to go off of. I was looking for like hotels and things like that. They don't have a lot of hotels. It's very like small town, very small town living. So yeah, it's okay.
But where would you rank it at as far as from all three though?
I like Kingman except for like the possible heat possibilities, but yeah, I'll place it like 2 or 1. Is there 2 1.5 I can go?
Which one of y'all's had the military base nearby?
Yeah, Sompog.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like Langley, where I'm at right now, there's a NASA research center connected to us. So it seems like a lot of that goes hand to hand. And like even working with emergency management, their security forces and their security work together.
Yeah.
So it's
they've already had a NASA launching that was actually hosted, I think, by it's Vandenberg Air Force Base. So they already have had like interactions with NASA. My problem, like I said, it's a lot of poverty in that area, so it's not like a stable community. It's a vulnerable community that NASA will be moving into.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cayman doesn't have an actual active military base. It did at one time, but yeah, I know what you're talking about as far as like whenever there is a base or an air station or something like that that's already on a federal level, it's easier for another federal agency to kind of jump on there because they already have the security aspect and they're really just expanding kind of just the physical footprint in reality because it ends up being the same type of security matters. But it's just like top secret stuff and they have additional fences inside the fence kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yes, that helps drastically. I think for Cayman, the only thing is because it has an airport, it's not an active airport, they can kind of attach themselves because that's kind of what they did here. For Yuma, they have the Marine Corps Air Station and the regular airport's attached to it. And So it's a mutual kind of relationship there. So I figured that might be similar for Keeman, that they may be able to do that. Um, but the biggest thing is they do fairly well, but they just haven't moved further enough to where they can start expanding well enough. As far as like a community, they can kind of grow exponentially without outside having to provide that influence. It's a little bit harder.
Gotcha.
I was looking at it, yeah. But as far as ranking them, I think I don't know. I'm trying to kind of measure the pros and cons to each one to see which one kind of falls through. Uh, I put one as far as Cayman. That might be a little bit biased, but only because I feel like they have a general good government established. They have good policies kind of in play to allow expansion. The location kind of helps where it's already kind of having improvements to improve the logistics and transportation for that. The only shortfalls are probably going to be that, like, the police department is not credentialed, which I need to look into that. What the hell does that mean? Like, they have a police force, but what does that really mean? But their crime rate is not necessarily, astronomical, where it's like they need to fix it now kind of deal.
Right.
But as far as the airport, that's kind of a hinder where it's not really an active airport. It's more of a business, or it looks more like a passenger airplane graveyard or repair center, where the airport is kind of active in that manner only.
All right. Yeah. I mean, NASA could bring a lot of money to it too,
Yeah, so that's where I was thinking, well, yeah, it's an improvement thing, but I think that relationship, as far as NASA bringing that, will exponentially fast track a lot of those things and expand where they're sitting at. Kind of like the infrastructure is kind of set up, but it's not built up.
Right.
So they have the foundation to kind of build off of that. So what should be our deadlines for the community ranking memo? How will we distribute the workload?
Deadlines, I can literally have my ranking, and I can have part of the memo like done by this weekend, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do the same.
All right. Yeah, I think that won't take us very long. I think once we kind of already finish going through our ranking and figure out categories, and then we go through the ranking part, I think writing it's going to be a lot easier for what's going to be put into the memo, where, yeah, we can definitely have it done by the weekend. No problem at all. As far as distribution of the workload, I started the template to kind of work off of, and then we'll start tweaking it all together. It's going to be a shareable file, which everybody will have access to edit it. And then from there, once we all kind of screen it one last time and we all feel that's good enough, we'll confirm via text or something, and then we can use it and do our rankings. And then we'll kind of figure out what our scores are going to be after that. And then we can talk about where they're going to sit at, and then that way we can lead right into the memo and our PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, that works. What day do you want to try to? Do you want to do it like on a Sunday? Kind of have it all together, or?
Well, what Sunday is the 11th, and when is it due? I remember we have one timeline that's earlier than the others.
Is it, or is it the 11th? Let me see.
11 is Sunday, but I don't recall. Let me look. I have my syllabus printed out here.
The memo is going to be due on. The presentation is due on the 11th, and the memo is due on the 13th.
Okay, so all right, so our memo, we got an extra 2 days.
So yeah, we should knock out work on the presentation first, and it'll help us with the memo almost.
Yeah, because they're going to mirror themselves pretty much. So since our video is due on the 11th, when do you guys want to record the presentation? Once obviously we're going to be working on it, but what's our cutoff to try and make sure we record our presentation for that?
I can have things done by Friday, which would be the 9th, and that leaves Saturday, Sunday. I should be available to do the video.
Okay, does Saturday work for you, Sam?
What time Saturday? I'll get off work at I get off work at 5 on Saturday, so I mean that's early for you guys. It's 5 Eastern time.
So that puts us at what, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
I mean, that works for me because it's,
The PM?
yeah, 2 p.m.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Anytime after that, I'll let y'all know when I get back. I can text you guys and then we can figure it out by that point.
Okay, yeah, because it's a video presentation and we'll just go over it one run now. Since it's only 10 minutes tops that we have to go over it, so we can kind of test our stuff. And then we'll record it right after that, and then shouldn't take us more than 10 minutes, and then we'll be done with the video presentation.
Yeah, it should be quick. Shouldn't take long.
Yeah, especially since we're going to be working on it, we'll kind of already know what to say on it and stuff like that. All right,
Yep.
so Saturday at sometime after 2 p.m. All right, sounds good on that. And then that memo, we can have it done that Sunday basically, because it's basically going to mirror off itself. And I guess Sunday we can just make sure that everybody got a chance to go over it and proofread it and make sure that it fits whatever we want to fit, and then just submit it.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So what's the process that we will use to write our memo, and who will write what? So where did so I have a general template for our memo. Everybody's kind of already graced over it. It'll be shareable item once again. It just basically has a general structure of what a memo typically goes by. Everybody's going to adjust it. And then once we actually determine our communities, whoever's community ranks at whatever number, they'll fill in their respective area for that, since they know their community best. And then from there, we'll collectively just figure out how to put in any side notes for our conclusion and stuff like that, and then we'll just kind of make sure it runs a clear pattern.
All right.
But like I said before, references and making sure citations are correct, don't rely on me on that one. I'm not that good at that. I understand it, but kind of just knucklehead myself through it. I still get points taken off each report I submit for my citations and reference page every time. And not I know it, and I don't even fight it. I'm just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll definitely help with that. We'll help you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so but as far as using references in our memo, I think it would probably just be for our communities, I'm assuming, to reference it, and then whatever our strong points or follow-up points or whatever not. I think that's the only tie-ins that I understood as far as how to incorporate those.
Okay, let's see.
All right. So that'll be collective thing.
Yeah, so I'll definitely go through and make sure the text citations and the reference list is up to snuff. I think I've only been docked once for the citation.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Okay, so do you want to take lead on being the final say on the memo?
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, you're it. It's been decided you're it.
All right, fine.
All right, cool. So, all right, yeah. So you'll have a full disclosure on make sure all the corrections are up to point. If we mess it up, just let us know. We'll fix our parts.
Yeah, I mean, just literally just try it, throw something out there, then I'll come through and fix it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. So that'll be on the memo part. What tool will we use to write it? We have a template. It's a Word document, and it's a shared document, and we'll just upload that document, which will have our attachment. Who will copy or edit it? We just figured out, James, you're doing our editing for our memo.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like editing too, you can kind of go through and make it, this will answer D, kind of make it more cohesive and sound like it's all meant to go together. Because you all write different, but you can kind of, you'll catch the flow when you edit it for sure.
Yeah.
To be honest, all of my reports it doesn't have any tone to it. It's very fact based. Like, so I doubt it's gonna sound like if we all just like are talking about facts, I doubt it'll sound like we're telling two different stories.
They'll all be the same because you're always just spitting out facts about a different topic. The only thing that's the same is the name of the city.
I doubt she's gonna be like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
We're literally just telling you about the city. Nothing extra.
Yeah, we're basically just stating the facts, so it shouldn't be too difficult for that. I think just the tone was just going to be our conclusion part as far as how we're being persuasive about the community, why we feel so strongly about the rankings where they fit at, and as far as pitching the concept of NASA taking that in consideration to even look into it. I think that's just that's more of a conclusion and introduction type of deal, but everything else that's going to be factual basically.
Right.
So it wouldn't be too bad. All right. And then E, who will do the in-text citations? We already figured that out. F, everyone signed off or final version on the memo. We already figured out when we'll have that all done. So we say we'll submit it by Sunday before it's due. Once we all kind of look at it and then James make sure it's in sync, we should be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll read it. Well, we should all read over it and just
Yeah.
catch something, I'm sure. So
yeah, that's insane. So, yeah, just whenever you're looking at it, just let us know, and then we'll make sure that we tell you like, yeah, we already went over it, and then once you got a final version of it, just let us know, and then we'll screen it again, just to see if we catch any minor things, and then that should be good, right, Sam?
yeah, looks good for me.
All right.
Cool.
And then signed off final version, upload. What are the deadlines for presentation? We already figured that out. So where did I put that at? Oh, here it is. So our PowerPoint presentation we're going to use for our video, which I said that it's going to be a shareable document. Everybody's going to have their input. It's going to kind of mirror our memo, which is our memos, and our criteria ranking is basically going to guide how our presentation is going to flow. As far as hitting the process of how we went through that, the rankings of each single one, and then just wrapping up as far as what we felt was strong. As far as the community, we're just going to highlight the advantageous part, the improvements for each one, and what NASA should probably further research as far as any considerations that they may deem are something that may be cautionary as far as if the city's willing to kind of negotiate with that or if they have a plan in place, those type of things just to figure out how they can improve it, make sure it fits within NASA's perspective for that. And then once again, have all that. And once we have a final version of our PowerPoint, then we'll screen that before we do the video, do a quick run through, make sure it flows the way we want it to. I'll record that presentation and upload it. And I'll save that and I'll upload it to YouTube, and then I'll add the link to where it needs to go.
Sounds good.
All right. And then process that we use to create the video, we're going to use Zoom because it can capture all of us, and it'll go through as far as the sound along with it. So I'll attach our PowerPoint presentation. So if you simply just like share my screen, which will have the PowerPoint, everybody will kind of just be able to use that as a guide, and then kind of go off of that. And then we'll rehearse that one time before so we can kind of know what the flow is, our pattern, and make sure it fits the timeline, and then upload it. So it'll be a Zoom document or a video recording of the PowerPoint presentation with all of us interacting with that. So that covers the creative video, the software that we'll use for that.
Basically, I touched on C then.
Yeah, portion of the video.
If everybody's on at the same time, then it's going to have the same
Yeah.
look and feel.
Yeah, so all three of us will be on there, and then all three of us will at least talk specifically of our city and where it falls in the ranking for sure. As far as controlling the flow from one to the other, I figure that whoever has the last ranking can close all the way to the end. And as far as whoever has the very first one that populates for the ranking, so what I mean by that is I'm trying to find a flow that we can kind of pass each other off, kind of like the baton of the flow of the PowerPoint, without us kind of jumping on each other's toes. But whoever starts would be the person that's going to be all the way up to their ranking. So they can kind of go through that. If you feel comfortable enough, whoever ranks there, and then we can pass it on to whoever is on their city. They'll take over for that for their number 2, and then whoever has the last city as ranking number 1 will take over from that person. As far as like, all right, hey, James, we'll talk about Lompoc being ranked number 1, and then you go over that, and then you will basically close us off all the way to the end.
Okay.
So that way we all kind of get a piece into it. So that's the way I was kind of looking at it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds cool. I don't have any problems with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problems with it either.
Okay, yeah, because we all just need to talk into it. We don't need to hog up the whole PowerPoint because we are trying to cut into that 10 minutes and not go over anyways.
Yeah. We can even time ourselves, to be honest. I have a phone. I can easily just tap it in. It'll tell me where I'm at time-wise.
Right.
Yep.
All right. And then everybody signed off on the final version of the video. We will submit. Once we stop the recording of the actual official video that we're going to upload, then right after that, if we feel anything needs to be readjusted, we can run it again. If not, if everybody's good with that, we can just post it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I can either just upload it out to YouTube and then send you guys a link, and then you guys can look at it and make sure that there's anything you guys might catch before I add that link to where it needs to be submitted.
Yeah, I think that'll work. That's good.
Yeah, so that's why we figured we can knock it out on Saturday, and then I'll upload the link real quick once it uploads, and then everybody can look over real quick. And then if everybody's good, then I'll just add the link to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so any questions on those?
I think you got it pretty good.
Okay. So then the only other thing we just need to finalize or figure out before we kind of close this off is going to be our ranking of the categories that we're looking at. Where did I put those? Oh, here we go.
Y'all want to
So I'll share that to you guys. Let's see. I remember everybody's emails. That's one, and then that should. So that's shared. So yes, you have access to those, and I'll do the same with the other ones. I was like,
do you guys want to do the that like ranking 1 through 5 thing soon, so we can kind of know where we're all going to stand on what section we're writing in for like the PowerPoint and the memo?
as far as figuring out the criteria for the number values?
Yes. Do you want to try and like, I don't know, I was thinking try to get that finished by either tomorrow or Thursday.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I was. So this one, I want to make sure that we figure out our categories right now before we kind of log off. But then after that, once we already know the categories, then it'll be easier for us. And then probably what's today? Tuesday. So if by Thursday we can, everybody already went over the ranking scale, and then make sure that the categories for the number values fit what we wanted to fit. And then we should be able to use that on here in 2 days, right? Sure, that should work.
Yeah. So when you're saying like figure out what we're gonna rank, like
right. Remember how I figured out there's like 14 of them, and like I was trying to cut it down to 10.
There we go.
Yeah. So we just want to make sure that we capture the ones that we feel are going to be the ones that we want to use for that ranking scale. So I think we should just decide those now. We shouldn't take us very long. And then from there, I'll kind of start fixing the spreadsheet of the ranking scale, and then we'll make sure it fits correctly. And then once everybody's good with that, then within 48 hours, we should be able to go through it and actually start ranking our stuff. And then that will generate everything else from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that what you were saying, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying yesterday, I think the only thing I would change on yours would be Parks and Recs and culture, because I feel like if we choose culture, that will give us a little bit more to go with. With I won't say advocating for like the different like cities, but it'll give you more like to choose from. Because with Parks and Recs, like you just have what happens if like a place isn't like necessarily doesn't have like a lot of parks or something like that, you know?
I don't think NASA would really care about that either, but that's just my opinion.
Well, we were actually talking about that because James asked me, "Is like, why do you think Parks and Recs is so important?" Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he mentioned about the culture part being integrated. And the only reason that I pitched it was for the Parks and Rec, which it made sense to add the culture, was I was thinking of like, all right, yeah, NASA, as far as the facility and what it needs to do for its mission, they don't really care about Parks and Rec. But as far as the employees and the diversity that they have available for them, for their families, or their extracurricular activities they may want to do, I think that holds some value. For people that are willing to move to a new location, that may be something they want to look into. But I know a lot of people they really don't care, or their lifestyle or the culture that they have is kind of like nightclubs, so they need more of a higher end type of community that has that type of lifestyle and flow for it, compared to something like Kingman, which is in the middle of nowhere. You got to drive a few hours to go do something, but around the area, it's more of outdoors people, but not everybody's outdoors people.
Right.
So I was just only looking at it as perspective as far as like a family value, or not necessarily the employees themselves, but their own family and what they can and cannot do when they're not working on the project itself.
I got you.
So that's how I tied it in. And he said, well, that kind of flows with culture, because that culture is basically what everybody's going to go off of what's already available and stuff like that. All right. And then I'll just need you guys to let me know if you guys receive all the shared files so you guys have access to them.
I received.
You see them?
Yeah.
Okay, so it should be our notes that we just did right now, the one with the categories, the PowerPoint presentation that we use, the structured memo, and then the ranking file that we're using to actually put everything in. Should be what, total 4 files?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, do you want to still figure out what are your top 10 there, Sam? Because me and James kind of talked about most of them for the most part.
My top 10, like I look at the mission when I pick anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like power and energy, environment, I think public health, public safety,
Okay.
climate, I think culture would be a good one, just to add that one in there too, if y'all like that one. I think so.
But I think that goes kind of like what James was saying. I think that can go together with Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So they can kind of just run off each other. I figured that location and climate go together.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at it as far as the location, just really how it's built up and where it's located at, as far as what other areas are in the driving distance to, as far as whether it's support wise or whether it's a community aspect or lifestyle type of location. Like, oh, you can drive to Vegas. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes from Kingman. That might be a good location because it allows you to venture into that, and then it still allows you to be in a small town. And California is right there as well, so on and so forth. Kind of that was looking at its location as well. But the climate one, I was looking at like what you were talking about, Sam, as far as like extreme weather and then natural disasters. Those are probably the only reasons that I really care for the weather, as far as how it affects the community and how it would affect the facility itself.
Right.
All right, so that puts those together. Demographics, I'm not even quite sure why I highlighted it, to be honest. Oh wait, I think we were talking about education and demographics. Was that what it was, James?
Uh, I remember we talked about demographics.
Because of the poverty rate.
Demographics might fit a little bit into no, because demographics includes. Does that also include like money information, like how much people are making?
Yeah, the income levels. Yeah, so I think that kind of tied into education. Uh,
Yeah,
because the demographic also breaks down like what's the education level as far as like higher education and so on and so forth. So I wasn't sure if to either combine them or they held their own for that. Because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 categories highlighted. So we need to chop two of them or combine or something.
yeah. Demographics is, eh, because we're gonna cover budgets. I like the government revenue and things like that. That's no, I don't know. Is it more important like how much money the community has, or how much the city makes? Like which would be more important to NASA?
Um, I don't think that NASA would care too much as far as like the revenue they're actually bringing in. I think they care more about how they smartly use their budgets to help as far as the community or grow the community. That's what I think as far as what probably holds a little bit more value than the other.
Hmm. So yeah, then I would shop probably government revenue.
Could you put environment with um, climate and location?
Yeah, I think because I went off of the way it breaks it down, and that's kind of like the three main things: the clean water, Superfund site, and fish species. Yeah, that could be all its own category as far as how we rank it.
Yeah, because a
We can
lot of
consider
the
water, the Superfund, and the endangered species all into one ranking as far as where they fall in that.
yeah,
But
because
yeah,
like
I think we
clean
can.
water has a lot to do with their location too.
Right.
Uh, so
So yeah, we can combine that. So that puts that there. But is there any of the non-highlighted ones that we want to use, or are we good to cut those?
um,
Since we're not going to use government revenue and taxes.
Tourism, I think it's a major thing that they're going to be worried about. Who's going to come visit our facility? Who's going to come is going to come. Income, we already discussed that. Economic impact, I think we decided that it's going to be a positive no matter where it goes.
Right.
right.
All right. So then, where we sit at then? 1, 2. Well, that puts us at 10. If we run location, climate, environment together, if we leave demographics by itself, transportation, power, energy, health, the community and government council part, education, culture and parks rec, public safety, and then policy environment. That runs 10 major categories for us.
I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's not highlighted that needs to be added.
Okay, so then we can cut all these other ones that are important but not significant for us to try to determine rankings, at least for this aspect. Okay, so then as far as the demographics, are we looking at as far as what aspect that is different from education? So that way I kind of know how we're grading them on demographics. Should that be like the employment rate or
That's what I was
unemployment rate?
thinking, like employment rate and poverty rate and stuff
Okay.
like that. I mean, you can do crime rate. Um,
Crime rate is already covered, I think, with public safety.
Yeah, it falls in there.
oh, uh, okay.
Uh, education level. Oh, that falls under education too. Or
Or are we gonna
demographic.
put income underneath it? If that's that.
Yeah, we can do that. That should be good. That gives us at least something to go off of.
Yeah, I
And
feel like that works.
unemployment.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so then that handles that. Transportation, that's pretty self-explanatory. Energy, health. Um, I put on here medical capability diversification. And the only reason I want to make sure that we're on the same page, if not, we'll cut it out, is because I realized like here, Yuma is considered a small town as well. So they have a regional hospital, but it doesn't have every specialty. So therefore, people have to be flown out to a different facility to be able to handle those type of cares.
Right.
So they don't have like a burn trauma care or pediatric cardiologist or stuff like that. No, it's not a big location. So that's where I was kind of ranking that part.
Yeah. So like if you're close to a bigger city or something, it'd be a benefit because that's where you'd probably have to go.
Right. So that's what I was looking at. So I don't know if you guys kind of have a general idea from your towns, if that's something that you guys kind of ran into your research, if that's something you can use for your rankings comparable to the other ones.
Yeah, I can use it because it's Leavenworth's like 30 minutes outside of Kansas City. So, I mean, that's where a lot of people go for their major surgeries. And yeah, I guess it's like specific surgeons, like hand surgeons and brain surgeons and all that. They're going to go to that city.
Yeah,
hospitals.
Lompoc has a major hospital that has in city.
Oh, okay.
Surgeries and whatnot.
All right, so you guys are doing better than mine is on that one then. Because Keeman has a facility, but is not diverse enough to handle anything. So anybody that would have anything above where they're sit at, they would have to be flown out to a different hospital. I'm not quite sure which one is the one that would fit for them, but yeah, they wouldn't be able to handle anything as far as that big. Okay, so that's a good use for our ranking for as far as public health wise.
Yeah.
All right, and then the government council part, which covers our budget, as far as the council's ethical behaviors, and then how well they're versed with their boards, and as far as their pattern of how they look at policies or discussions that they approach. Education, self-explanatory. As far as the public safety, yeah, we're covering the crime rate as far as that. The law enforcement force per resident comparison, and whether our fire department is a full staff or a volunteer one, or if they have like a specific type of engines and stuff like that that might be able to handle scalable things like a commercial building like the NASA facility or not.
All right.
So if we have like questions that we come across when we're reading each other's different reports, best way to get in contact with everybody is through text, right?
Yeah, text message, yeah,
Yep.
probably be the most reliable and fastest way.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
if you're like on the bubble of figuring out where you want to rank one of our communities just because you don't sure, and yeah, you can just hit us up and then we'll let you know where they sit at, and then that way you can figure out the ranking for them.
Yep. Sounds good.
And then our policy thing, I think that's just in general as far as how well they have either things implemented or in their like annual budgets. They usually have policies or things that they're looking into forecasting. So I think that should be kind of like a catch-all for any other things that they're looking into. Does that sound good for everybody?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Okay, well, those are our 10 categories. And as far as subcategories, the only reason I broke it down is if there's a specific one that we want to grade within that scope, like we'll say education and the research quality or capability, that could be a subcategory to it because they may have a college, like Keeman has has NAU and U of A, but they're not a full campus. They're just an extension campus, and they're just very tailored to one program because it fits the community only. So they wouldn't be able to handle that as far as a research capability. So it'll have to be either outsourced or bid it out for a university to come in and establish themselves in order to build that. That could be a subcategory as far as ranking it, because that's something important for NASA, especially for what they're doing. So that's why I figured it would be a subcategory for that.
Yeah, and same with Lompoc. It has a community college, a small community college, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You have to go like to Santa Barbara to get go to like UC Santa Barbara. They could probably help out, but they're like an hour away.
Yeah, same thing for Cayman. Any major university or state college, it's an hour away, and so that would have to be something outsourced or bid it into, bring it into the community. Which I would assume that if NASA's showing up, there's going to be an interest by one of the universities to be involved in that and put a foothold in a location like that.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, so I just figured that could be a subcategory if we wanted to. So is that something we want to add as far as a subcategory for any of these? Because these are our main 10 ones, but we can add subcategories to each one and they'll extend. And I don't want to go past like 20 or something like that we have to evaluate. But if we feel one that has a very good value for NASA, I think that should be considered as a subcategory within that.
Yeah. I think like when we're going, we can just go off these 10, and if one of us thinks of something or comes across something, we can just bring it up to each other through text or something.
Okay.
If you want to add it. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, I'll add these main categories to that sheet. And then once we start kind of figuring out how we're ranking them already, then if we need to add those subcategories, then we can talk about those.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Not for me.
No. Yeah. So we have what? Well, we've just now done the ranking, so we don't have to worry about that. So Friday is the next time we're checking in, and we should have like the our parts of the memo done, as well as what else?
Okay, so today's the 6th,
Mhm.
And we figured that we can have our first run at the ranking part
There we go.
by Thursday here in 2 days. So then we should be able to have a final ranking either that day, if not Friday, so we can start using that into our memo and our PowerPoint. Yeah, we're kind of going at. Are you good with that, Sam?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, so then Thursday the 8th, I'll write that down so I don't forget. We should have a general idea of where we're ranking with our numbers with these categories. And we should probably already talked about it probably by tomorrow or so, if we need to add subcategories. So that way Thursday we have our scores and then we can go off of that. Just go on the file and make any adjustments to the number value to make sure since we already know what categories we're going to hit, to make sure they're going to be able to kind of distinguish our communities into that, so we can probably grade them according to that. Okay, so Thursday we'll have those scores filled in, and then Friday we should be able to use all that data into our other two projects, which is the memo and the PowerPoint. So when do you guys want to have the memo and PowerPoint ready for, as far as everybody went through it as a first draft kind of deal?
So the PowerPoint we're going to do Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday
Saturday's when it's due.
Yeah, Saturday's when we're going to knock out the presentation itself.
Okay.
So can we just kind of tentatively go with Friday? We'll have everything done as far as like our first initial run through where we went through. We should already have okay, so let me backtrack. So Thursday, the 8th, we'll have our rankings completed and we'll know where our communities fall in. And from there, we can start adding that information once we all kind of already know where we sit at with the rankings, start adding it to the PowerPoint and the memo. And then Friday, we can have that pretty much already proofread, and we can all kind of check out where we're at, and we'll gauge it from there, because that'll give us Saturday and Sunday still. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the memo, all the stuff for the memo too on Friday.
No, just a first draft. Like, we put some stuff in there to already build, because we're already going to know where our communities rank. So we should already have some notes in there. So that way we all know that we at least touched on it. And then
Okay.
that way we can start moving on as we start building it.
All right, that works.
Yeah, so Friday will just kind of make sure that everybody, we can look at all the files and we can be able to see that, all right, yeah, because your community ranked at whatever number, you put in some notes in there already, so we know that you touched on all the files, and then that way we can start drafting the progression of how they're going to go. The PowerPoint is going to be awfully simple, so that shouldn't be bad. The memo is the one that's going to be a little bit more time consuming, just to make sure we take what we from this data and put it in there.
Right.
Also, to have a quick thing that we could do for the ranking, with the subcategories like transportation, under transportation where it has logistics, just put like a letter grade under it. Like for logistics, you have A. For modes of travel, it could be like a B or whatever, and that could like help with the ranking. So like you could see like visually, all right, they have an A here, and then like a C here. Okay, so it's looking like they have it's an A for that section or something like that. Does it make any sense? Like where it says like power and / energy.
Yeah.
The subcategory is under like does it have like nuclear energy? If it does, fine, I put an A under there, like a plus. If it has like a gas or pipeline or something like that. Basically just like the different metrics that we're going to be looking for, we can be using that as like the subcategory. Like how could I say that right?
I kind of think I know where you're going with that. Sam, do you have?
I mean, yeah, I get what he's saying. I mean, we can do that if we want.
That's something like I was saying, like we all strike uniformly do. I was just thinking like that could be like a method of like how we like individually like score.
Oh, a process
yeah.
for us to go through each community and we figure out where they rank at.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna go off of basically whatever we figured out as the descriptors for the rankings. That's what I was gonna go off of. So for like example, like for Kingwing, for me, for location, climate, and what was the other one that we added onto there? And environment. So the clean water part. So for me, Kingwing ranking compared to your other communities, just as an example, I would go off and read what the 5 is. So community has either provided enough information to reassure that their ability to be a hallmark category for others to emulate. So now I'm going to compare Kingman. Can that be a community that either Lompoc and Leavenworth can actually emulate to try to strive to become? Does that give them a 5 or not? And if I say no, then I'll be like, all right, well, Leavenworth actually has a better plan when it comes to disaster management or as far as where they're located, it's probably a better location. So I'll probably give them a 5 instead of that. Does that make sense? That's kind of how I was looking at these numbers for ranking each of the communities to see where they fell at. But at the same time, I was trying to make sure that these numbers had value to where it's not like a 5, 4, 3 for everybody across. It's more like, well, they may be a 1 because they need they neglected something real big and the community needs that in order to grow. And therefore, this community needs that number instead of even being close to the higher numbers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so that's what I was using those subcategories. I know where you kind of, from what I understand it is like, as far as like the energy part, if they have nuclear, that is a plus. So I'm kind of pushing them up the number scale because they have that capability and my community doesn't, or the other community that I'm looking at as well. That's how I was looking at it as far as judging each of the cities in order to push them up whatever scale according to how they fell on there.
Yeah.
So that's how I was looking at the ranking scale with this number value and then our categories for that. Does that make sense, Sam?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay. Is that kind of what you were going at with it, James?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Just try to like basically frame like how to
Okay.
think about each category.
Yeah, and that's all I was saying. You guys need to just read the breakdown of how I have the number values to make sure that it's worded to where we can distinguish it within the communities. Like a nuclear part, like is that a big deal? Then is that something that it's worded correctly for it to hold like a 5 value or a 4 value? That's what I want to make sure that it captures on our categories is that the description is enough guidance to allow us to provide a community to fall in that.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So here in 2 days, we should have this figured out, and we should be able to, once you guys kind of look over it, make adjustments for the ranking scale, then we can finalize that, and then we can use it, and then that'll get us everything started basically from there. So you guys just want to check in over text on Thursday?
Yeah, that works for me.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I'll stop the video since we captured everything we needed to. Let me see if I can figure this out real quick.
Moment of truth.